to explain the Human Circulatory System, Grade 9, Unit 6. Human Circulatory System රුධිර සංසරණ පද්ධතිය ගැනයි අපි කතා කරන්නේ. Function of Human Circulatory System. Here we are going to learn about what is the function, ප්‍රධාන කාර්ය මොකක්ද Human Circulatory System එකේ කියලා. What is the main function? Transports blood throughout the body. ශරීරය පුරා රුධිරය ප්‍රවාහනය කිරීම තමයි කාර්ය. What kind of a system is this Human Circulatory System? It is a closed system. No openings in this system to outer side. The heart pumps blood into the blood vessels. Heart ටික blood vessels වලට blood pump කරනවා. Next we are going to learn about the diagram of heart. Before you just learn about this diagram, you have to draw your attention to the 4 chambers in the heart. There are 4 chambers in the heart. What's the meaning of chambers? Kutira. Then upper chambers and lower chambers. Upper chambers. What are the upper chambers in the heart? Left atrium. Can you see? Left atrium and right atrium. Then what are the lower chambers? Left ventricle and right ventricle. There are 2 valves between the atria and ventricle. Before just I explain this, atria is singular, the plural, and atrium is singular. Atria is plural form for atrium. Now we are going to talk about valves between the atria and ventricle. Go through this diagram and say, there you can see bicuspid valve is in between the left atrium and left ventricle. Can you see? At a penal පුතාලට left ventricle එකයි left atrium එකයි අතර තියෙනවා valve එකක්. What's the name of that valve? Bicuspid valve, or we call it as mitral valve. Then can you see another valve in between the right atrium and the right ventricle? What's that? That is known as tricuspid valve. Right atrium එකයි right ventricle එකයි අතර තියෙන valve is known as what? Valve එකට අපි කියනවා tricuspid valve. Then next, arteries. The blood vessels that take blood away from the heart. Arteries means රුධිර වාහිනේ මොනවාද? රුධිරය heart එක ඉවතට ගෙනෙන රුධිර වාහිනී වලට අපි කියනවා arteries කියලා. Function of arteries. Carry blood away from the heart. What's the thing? Carry blood away from the heart. You have to just keep in mind, arteries, they carry blood away from the heart. එකේ ඉවතට blood ගෙනියන්නේ arteries. What is the reason for the artery walls become thick and elastic? Normally these artery walls become thick and elastic. ගණකමින් වැඩි මේ artery walls. ඒ වගේම elastic ඇතිසුළුයි. Why? Have to think. To withstand the high pressure of blood being pumped directly from the heart. Heart එකෙන් කෙලින්ම pump කරන නිසා මේ arteries වල ලේ ගමන් කරන්නේ high pressure එකට. මේ high pressure එකට පිත්ති ඔරොත්තු දෙන්න ඕන. To withstand means ඔරොත්තු දෙන්න ඕන high pressure එකට. ඒ නිසා these walls have become thick and elastic. Can you understand what I am explaining? Yeah, good. Then next. Now we are talking about arteries. Now draw your attention to this diagram. Right atrium, left ventricle, right ventricle. Then in between left atrium and left ventricle, you can find, what's the name? This valve, bicuspid valve. Or what do we say? Mitral valve. Then next, you can see another valve. What's the name? What's the name of this? It is in between right atrium and right ventricle. That is known as tricuspid valve. Now we are talking about what? Arteries. Okay? Then there are two main arteries connected to the ventricle. Ventricle. They are connected to the ventricle. What are they? What are the two main arteries? Two main arteries. Aorta. Here you can see there what? Aorta. Start from the left ventricle. Find out the left ventricle. Here it is. It starts from the left ventricle. කොහෙන්ද පටන් ගන්නේ? Left ventricle. Starting from the heart, divide into branches. Can you see it divide? It divides into branches. අතු බෙදලා යනවා branches. උත බෙදලා යනවා. Supply pure blood to the other organs. This supplies pure blood. Okay, පිරිසිදු රුධිරය ශරීරේ පුරා තියෙන organs වලට ගිහිල්ලා දෙනවා. Then what is the other artery which is connected to the ventricle? Pulmonary artery. What's that? Pulmonary artery. Start from the right ventricle. Find that, okay, right ventricle. Then here you can see, look at this diagram. You can see the pulmonary artery there connected to right ventricle. What's the function of this pulmonary artery? මොකක්ද මෙයාගේ function එක? Transports impure blood to lungs from the heart. You have to keep in mind, aorta transport pure blood to the other organs, but pulmonary artery transport impure blood to lungs. This transport, what kind of blood? Does it carry? Impure blood. Now you have to keep in mind what are the two main arteries? Aorta and pulmonary artery. Can you show me? Aorta is there and pulmonary artery is connected to the right ventricle. Aorta is connected to left ventricle. Okay, now we will go through this diagram again. We'll see. There are four chambers of the heart: right atrium, left ventricle, right ventricle. There's a valve called, what is this valve? Bicuspid valve, in between left atrium and left ventricle. Then you find tricuspid valve in between right atrium and right ventricle. Now we have already learned about arteries. What are the arteries? Aorta. Can you see it start from the left ventricle? Aorta is here. It carries, what kind of blood is carried by aorta? Pure blood. Pure blood is carried by aorta. Now here you can find, that's pulmonary artery. It is connected to right ventricle. What kind of blood is carried by pulmonary artery? impure blood. නේද? නම් මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ arteries they take blood away from the heart. Away from the heart. Look at this. Away from the heart. This is the pulmonary artery here. This is the circulatory system is given here. Then you can see pulmonary artery carries impure blood. At the same time, aorta carries pure blood away from the heart. Okay, can all understand what I explained? Now next, we are going to talk about veins. The blood vessels that take the blood towards the heart. Veins, they bring blood towards the heart. Heart එක දිහාට blood ගේන රුධිර වාහිනී වලට what do we say? Veins කියලා කියනවා. What are the characteristics of veins? මොනවද මේ වගේ ලක්ෂණ? The pressure of blood inside the veins are relatively low compared with arteries. මේකේ ගොඩක් pressure එක අඩුයි blood pressure එක මේ veins. Therefore, walls of veins are thin. Walls of the veins are thin. මේවා ඝනකමින් අඩුයි. And valves open towards the heart to prevent the backflow of blood. Can you see? There are valves here because that the blood is carried by veins. That means that the blood pressure inside the veins are relatively low. Therefore, that to prevent the black flow of blood, there are valves inside the veins. Can you see this? They direct or they open towards the heart. Heart එක දෙසට තියෙන valves තියෙනවා. මේ veins වල blood pressure එක අඩු නිසා ආපහු flow back වුණොත් හරි back flow එක වළක්ව ගන්න ආපසු රුධිරේ පල්ලෙහාට යන වළක්වන්න valves තියෙනවා. ඒවා තියෙන හෘදය දෙසට තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ පිහිටීම තියෙන්නේ. Like this. Can you see this? Okay. Then what is the function of veins? Collecting blood from the capillaries and transports to the heart. It's collect impure blood from the capillaries. Here you can see the capillaries and just transporting to heart. Capillaries වලින් collect කරගන්න impure blood ඊළඟට ගිහිල්ලා දෙනවා කොහෙද heart. Veins contain impure blood. Veins වල මතක තියාගන්න impure blood තියෙන. ඒ වුණාට except pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein contains pure blood. Can you see? Pulmonary vein contains pure blood. Pulmonary vein. This is the pulmonary vein. Pure blood is carried by pulmonary vein to the heart. Okay. Then the other one is there are two other veins. We have to explain. They are known as superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. What are they? Superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. Main veins. Now again we have to just discuss pulmonary veins starting from the lungs. Take the pure blood to the left atrium. Okay, starting from lungs here you can see the pulmonary vein and carries pure blood to the heart. Oxygenated blood to the heart. Oxygenated අඩංගු blood ගෙනල්ලා දෙනවා රුධිරය දිහා. Then the other thing is superior vena cava. carries impure blood to the heart from the organs above the heart. Heart එක උඩින් තියෙන අවයවවල impure blood heart එකට ගේන්නේ කවුද? Superior vena cava. Okay? Then you can see another one, inferior vena cava. Carries impure blood to the heart from the organs below the heart. ඒකට පල්ලෙහාට තියෙන organs වල impure blood heart එකට ගෙනල්ලා දෙන්නේ inferior vena cava. Both open into the right atrium. Superior vena cava as well as the inferior vena cava, both open into the right atrium. මේ දෙකම right atrium එකට open වෙනවා. Okay, main veins connected to the atria. You have to keep in mind, arteries are connected to the ventricles, but veins are connected to atria. The superior vena cava and inferior vena cava open to the right atrium. Left and right pulmonary veins open to the left atrium. Left and right pulmonary veins open to the left atrium. You can see that. Left atrium, you can see. Okay. There are semilunar valves at the starting point of main arteries. Main arteries පටන් ගන්න තැන්වල valves තියෙනවා. Aortic semilunar valve is at the starting point of aorta. Can you see starting point of aorta? You can see aortic semilunar valve. Do we call these as semilunar valves? අදසන්ත කපාට වගේ. Okay. Then you can see another valve at the starting point of pulmonary artery. You can see starting point of pulmonary artery, that is known as pulmonary semilunar valve. Pulmonary semilunar valve. Now you can see semilunar valves. Here we call pulmonary semilunar valves. Here you can see, what are they? Aortic semilunar valves. What do we call? Aortic semilunar valves. Then capillaries. Walls of capillaries consist of single cell layer. Unlike veins and arteries, capillaries consist of single cell layer. එක cell layer එකක් තියෙන තුනී බිත්ති වලින් තමයි capillaries හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ. Nutrients and gases in blood diffuse into the cells, and the waste matter in the cells diffuse into blood capillaries. මේ වගේ මොකද කරන්නේ? ගෙනිච්ච pure blood ගෙනිච්ච arteries ගෙනිච්ච nutrient gases ඒ organs වලට ගන්නවා. organs ළඟ යන්න බෑනේ ඒවා විශාල නිසා මේ චූටි රුධිර කේශනාලිකා විදිහට තමයි මේ බෙදිලා තියෙන්නේ. And the waste matter in the cell diffuse into blood capillaries. The waste matter diffuse වෙනවා අනිත් පැත්තට මේ අවයවවල තියෙන සෛලක තියෙන waste matters කොහෙටද එන්නේ? මේ veins වලට එකතු වෙනවා. Then how is pure blood transported? From heart, aorta brings, and then the aorta branches and form small capillaries. Then we call these as arterioles. Then by combining these arterioles, at the end venules are formed to carry deoxygenated or impure blood, venules are formed. Then by collecting these venules, shooting venules එකතු වෙලා veins හැදෙනවා. අපිරිසිදු රුධිරය සෛල වලින් පිට කරපු අපද්‍රව්‍ය heart එක දිහාවට ගෙනියනවා. heart එකෙන් පිරිසිදු කරපු blood නැවත මේවට බෙදලා දෙනවා. Now you have to draw your attention to the way in which the blood is transported throughout the heart. බලමු දැන් කොහොමද වෙන්නේ කියලා heart එකේ. There are 4 chambers: right atrium, left atrium, left ventricle, right ventricle. Then now look at this. Superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. Okay, you can see this diagram as well. Bring impure blood from the other organs of the body towards the heart. That means to the right atrium. Then what will happen? Right atrium contracts and tricuspid valve opens and impure blood flows to the right ventricle. Then the right ventricle contracts and pulmonary semilunar valves open and impure blood goes to pulmonary artery. Can you see? Look at this diagram. Superior vena cava and inferior vena cava bring impure blood to the right atrium, that it flows to right ventricle via tricuspid valve. Then semilunar valves, that means pulmonary semilunar valves at the starting point of pulmonary artery, and impure blood flows to the pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery brings impure blood to the lungs and get oxygenated blood. Okay, oxygenated blood. මොකද වෙන්නේ අපි බලමු. impure blood superior vena cava එකනොයි inferior vena cava එකනොයි ගෙනවා right atrium එකට ගෙනාවාම ඒක contract වෙනවා, සංකෝචනය වෙනකොට tricuspid valve එක open වෙලා ඒකෙන් impure blood right ventricle එකට යනවා. right ventricle එක contract වෙලා ඊළඟට semilunar valves open වෙලා එතනින් impure blood left pulmonary artery, left and right pulmonary arteries වලට යනවා. ගියාම pulmonary arteries ගෙනියනවා මේක මේ අපිරිසිදු රුධිරය lungs වලට. so lungs මොකද කරන්නේ? purify කරලා දෙනවා. මේක හොඳට පිරිසිදු කරලා oxygenated blood එකතු කරනවා. Can you see? Then pure blood ටික කවුද ගේන්නේ? pulmonary veins ගෙනල්ලා දෙනවා. left atrium contract වෙනකොට bicuspid valve එක open වෙනවා. ඊළඟට pure blood ටික left ventricle එකට වැටෙනවා. left ventricle එකේදී ඊළඟට මොකද වෙන්නේ? semilunar valves or aortic semilunar valves open වෙනවා. pure blood goes to the aorta. aorta එකට pure blood යනවා. then aorta distributes pure blood throughout the body. මුළු ශරීරය පුරාම මේ රුධිරය aorta එකෙන් ගෙනහිල්ලා දෙනවා. Can you understand the thing that I have explained? Okay, I think you have got sound knowledge about the function of the heart and the blood vessels, semilunar valves, and the tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve. We have learned a lot of things under this lesson. Okay, I hope that you learned valuable points related to your syllabus. Okay.